Alright guys, today we've got a ditch switch Sk800. This is a 2019 model, and the customer complaint is it overheats immediately, and it will not back up, won't hardly turn. So I believe we got some pilot controls that are bad. The radiator is disgusting in this thing. As you can see, we got the cap off of it, but just look down in the radiator cap. It's gross. So we're gonna work on getting the radiator out of it, get it halfway flush to see if we can't get it to stop overheating as quickly. We are gonna take the radiator out and have it professionally cleaned and checked. As far as the pilot controls, I believe this valve right in here is gonna be our issues with why it won't back up and or stop moving forward. So this is it, it's first little video. We'll keep you guys updated. We're gonna work on getting the radiator out now, or at least get access to it. All right, so as y'all can see, we got the cover back off. We are draining the radiator. Something interesting about this unit in particular is if you can see right there, from here over is your heat exchanger for your hydraulic fluid, your hydraulic cooler for lack of better terms. And then from here, this way is the radiator. So we're draining it. Let's see if we can't get a bunch of the sludge out of it. We are also gonna drain the block, which is right down here. Grab a flashlight. So if y'all can see that right there, that is the drain for the block. So we're going to try to get as much out of it as we can. The next step, what we're going to do once we flush it, is probably go ahead and pull the the thermostat housing off, and see if we can't flush a lot of this out of the engine before we have the radiator pulled. So y'all stay tuned. All right, guys. So I've got this unit verified that it definitely has a problem. Got it sitting up on some dunnage, some 4x4s, just get the drain pan under it. We are going to pull the radiator out next, and I'm gonna remove the water pump. I already have the thermostat out of it and run it. It overheats pretty much immediately, which tells me it's got a flow problem. Either the water pump's not pumping or the radiator's so stopped up that it won't flow. To each his own. You pretty much have to do one to get to the other. So we're gonna have the radiator boiled out regardless. So next step, get the radiator out of it. All right, guys, as you can see, I got the radiator out. I did go ahead and pull the water pump, and I wanted to check to make sure that our shaft and our impeller were still attached. I have seen back in the Honda world where the shaft would spin while turning the impeller. So I did want to check that. Obviously, I believe it's good. We sacrificed the gasket, but there's no second guessing because you pretty much got to go to this point to get to the water pump. But I did figure out the problem, and I want you guys to take a look at this. We're going to take a water hose. Obviously, this is your radiator slash heat exchanger unit. So this is your oil cooler radiator 1. You see we got a water hose in here. Here's where your upper radiator hose would go. Here's your lower radiator goes. Watch what happens. Before we ever get any real water coming out of the lower, the upper starts flowing. So what that tells us is the radiator's stopped up, most likely somewhere about 2/3 the way up. You see we've just barely got a trickle coming out of here. We got more coming out of the top. Anybody that knows, how gravity works, water should flow down, come out of here. And I did notice when I was diagnosing the machine that the water coming out of the bottom of the radiator was ice cold when the top was steaming over. So the radiator's gonna be our problem. We're gonna get this stripped down and sent off and see if they can clean it and repair it. Otherwise, we will have to buy a radiator. The unfortunate part is, from Ditch Witch, that is a $2,000 radiator. Y'all stay tuned. I'll give y'all an update when I get it ready to go out together.